From proving to creating. Works? Help? Oh, there you go. I'm looking around and right away I notice hunger to grow, to build the global future. I've noticed work ethic, all of you here, becoming better, listening to all those great people. And I see also something else, a weight. The weight, that quiet, inherited thinking that we need to prove something first before we can speak about the future, before we can do something extraordinary. And yes, it's most of the time inherited. We entrepreneurs have those living between those two voices in our head. One says, yes, go, build the world you envision, be brave. And the second one says, wait, you're not ready yet, prove yourself. Too many people overvalue what they are not and undervalue what they are. Let it sink. We overvalue what we are not. That anxiety, where is it coming from? The insecurity. When did we lose that confidence? Yes, it's generational trauma. It's maybe growing up, educational system, many reasons. But we have that voice in our head saying, be perfect before you speak. Don't take space before you earn it. Wait. Prove yourself. Prove yourself first. But to shape the global future, it's not about that. The global success runs on different fuel, on a clear vision, on confidence in storytelling, and on courage to execute fast and also to fail and get up. So how do we shift that mind? How do we reframe that thinking in ourselves? Let me tell you about my story. I grew up in mountains. I grew up as a shepherd in a little town in Polish mountains. End of communism. Scarcity shaped everything. Our imagination, opportunities. It was all about making ends meet. It was about survival, great resourcefulness, but not about thriving. So as a teenager, I cracked the code. I figured out I worked hard. I did sports. I became Olympic level athlete. I did whitewater kayaking. I was 9-time Polish champion. I was 4th in the world. And it felt great. It gave me confidence. The fate threw me into the United States. I won a green card. I landed, $300 in my pocket, no cell phones, no credit cards, no network, no plan, very poor English. What did I do? I knew how to survive. I wanted to prove myself. I worked hard, 3 jobs. I study English second language at night. I did everything I could. I ended up at the University of California, Berkeley. And then, wow, something clicked in me. I couldn't speak. My anxiety about being misunderstood, about my heavy accent, felt like that. I completely froze. It was like a potato in my throat. It hurt. I was in the rooms with Nobel Prize laureates, with presidential advisors teaching me, and I couldn't engage. I felt like I didn't belong. Luckily, very fast, I realized something. One time in a class, my American buddy nudges me with the elbow and saying, "Hey, what is professor saying? I can't understand him." He had a heavy accent. I could understand him perfectly. I realized, oh wow, if he can be a Berkeley professor and doesn't stop him, why do I worry about it? Being multilingual, not perfect, it's a superpower. I can listen, I can decode, I have a superpower over native speakers. So yes, that felt great and empowered me to do the next things. Do not let people think that you don't belong. Famous words that I heard few years later from great President Barack Obama. So he said, do not let people think you don't belong. Because when you're in the room with all those fancy titles and you talk to them, you see, they ain't all that. And that was the story of me landing at Morgan Stanley and then climbing to the global leadership. First, every room was a proving ground. Every room I entered, I proved myself. Every meeting felt like an audition. But slowly I realized people are not inherently superior. They all improvise at some time. They don't know it all. Sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. And another thing, the success is transferable. I see a lot of people going to the new space, super successful, and then they feel like they need to prove themselves there. But I was able to use my academic career, my sports career, to advance quickly. It helped. So, after career in the enterprise, in the corporate, I still was hungry. I decided I want to create my own global enterprise between San Francisco and Warsaw. So I entered Silicon Valley. What shocked me there, it was nothing about proving yourself and hard work. I met successful founders that had 10% of the solution and talk like they would have already 110% so confidently that everybody felt like they were in a future living there. Investors loved it. That confidence is contagious. Yes, I see that. And then I started helping and mentoring founders from all around the world coming in. And what I hear, they have 80% of the solutions, 90. What they talk about, that 10% that is missing. They discounting their value. They apologetic. They live in a here and now, and they talk details about the actual problems they right now solving, but where they are, but they not saying where they going. And this is not lack of skill. This is just this framing that we got in other places that constrain us. So, how do we, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product you shipped too late. Those are famous words of Reid Hoffman. And what can I say? What can I leave you with? All can I say is that you are greater than you think you are. Why? Not because you have a grit, not because you have skills, not because you have intelligence. Why? Because your potential, it's much larger than the frame that you grow up. You're greater than you think you are. Because, and to be there, you need a permission. You need a permission to think globally. You need a permission to speak boldly. You need a permission to feel like you belong. But that permission needs to come from you. Because when you actually start living like you belong, speaking about the future you're creating, everything changes. The investors love it. The clients are convinced. Your employees, your partners, they feel it. And one thing I'm leaving you with, you belong. You always have. Because yes, you're greater than you think you are. So dream like it, act like it, and deliver. Thank you.